whenever the trainer's phone rings, that was the guy, right? He didn't know that I was standing back there. He's like, yeah, he threw a bullpen today. He's like, yeah, he could probably throw tomorrow. I threw a bullpen today. Nobody else threw a bullpen today. He's like,
they're talking about me.
Damn, that's me, dude. Like, I actually got DFA'd before spring training, and they called me and they were like, yeah, we'll let you know if you're going to go to big league camp. I'm like, big league camp? I was just with the team the whole year before. What are you talking about? Let me know. Like, I'm not ever going to pitch in the big leagues here again. It's like, it was a nice time. Pitching up there again is probably not going to happen.
I hope everyone at some point gets a chance to like have that feeling of like, I made it. All right, today we have Zach Neal joining us. And for those of you who don't know Zach Neal, he was a big leaguer on 2 continents, a 2010 17th round pick of the former, the Florida Marlins, which are no longer, it's the Miami Marlins, and member of the 2018 National League champion Los Angeles Dodgers. So, Zach, thanks for joining us on To the Majors today. And man, you've got quite the baseball journey.
Yeah.
You so we dug into your stuff a little bit, and so you're born in South Carolina.
Yep.
But you went to high school in Flower Mound here down the street.
Yep.
So
local kid, Flower Mound.
Yeah, bigger school, Texas sports, big deal. When did you move to the DFW area?
4th grade.
Okay, so you were young. So
I grew up here. I mean, I was born in Columbia, but I don't really remember too much of that.
Okay.
So most of my days I consider myself, Texan with some Carolina roots, but yeah,
the baby,
right nice. Around here.
Nice, dude. So Zach and I moved here in 2014, and we trained together that first off season, and that winter. Were you still with the Marlins at that time?
2014, I would have been with Oakland. Yeah, okay. Coming up with Oakland, right?
Yep. So. Well, yeah, so we talked about that, but dude, so let's go back. Let's start kind of at the beginning. Where did baseball come from? Like, did you have brothers? Did you have parents that got you in, or did you just get here and sign up? And
no, I mean, no brothers.
Okay.
I have a younger brother, but he was always into music, so it was just me, man. I just loved baseball.
Yeah,
just always. My dad loved it as well. I was always watching it with him, so he loved it growing up, right? And so I would say through him, and I just naturally liked it.
Yeah.
He says as soon as I could walk, I was trying to throw something.
That's cool.
I have a little boy now too, and he's trying to do the same thing. So just always had an affinity for it. Obsessed, right?
Yeah.
We all were.
Were you a fan of the game? Because I feel like some kids growing up, they're like major fans of players and of teams, and some kids are like, I could care less to watch it.
I loved all of it.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Who is your team? Who is your guy?
Growing up, like when I could remember, Josh Beckett was my guy, dude. Yeah, just a bulldog, dude, like him with the Marlins.
Yeah,
and then the Red Sox. Yeah, Beckett was my guy.
I loved watching.
I loved like modeling myself after him. Just on the mound, his mantra, like the way he threw. And obviously, if you go back a little bit older, Nolan Ryan being a Texas guy.
Yeah.
But mostly the way Beckett was on the mound, and that was how I was going to be.
Yeah, I feel like it's so important that
Clemens
you watch the game as a kid, and that's kind of where you learn kind of the basics, and you get the love for the game. And I found it very interesting. Like he said, I was helping out my nephew's teams when I first moved here, and I'd go out on the field with them, and I'd be like, okay, hey, who do you like? And they're like, I don't really watch baseball. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be tough for me to teach you. I was gonna say hey, play shortstop like Corey Seager, but when kids don't watch it, it's kind of difficult. But so you're a kid that grew up South Carolina, moved to Texas. That's kind of all you remember. Did you got introduced to Little League right away, or do you kind of remember growing up in a neighborhood, kind of just playing with football, being around it, playing with neighborhood kids?
Yeah, we did the normal Little League stuff. And then when I was probably 12 or 13, we got onto, a little travel team and did that stuff. And yeah, always playing outside. But I mean, not too much. We would play wiffle ball and hit balls over the house and whatnot. But we'd always play football in the street and stuff like that, just normal kid stuff, but nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but always just loved playing baseball. You know, when I was young, I'm sure maybe you guys did this, but before a game and my uniform's laid out,
Yep.
you know, I got my socks, I have it, you know, and now I do that with like golf outfits, but you know, it's like, but yeah, I was always like baseball.
I think that's the coolest thing. Like for me now as a parent, and I have a 5-year-old son that we coach together, and they just got their uniforms on Wednesday. And, you know, even now, like last night, he'll like throw the uniform on and he comes sliding into the bathroom. Like, okay, it's time to shower, buddy. Let's get out of the uniform. But like, I think it's just so important, you know, in order to, you know, get to where we all got to, like, it has to stem from this love. Like, it can't be, I'm not put on this earth to play baseball. It's like, I got to love it. I got to have passion for it, because that's ultimately what's going to drive you to work hard and try to achieve certain things in your life.
Yeah, it was never even about working hard for me. Like, that's just what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't have to tell me to go do that.
Yeah.
Like, I was doing it, you know, in my yard myself. I mean, I remember in my house growing up, you know, over in Flower Mound, our yard was pitched like just a little bit at the top of this hill. And it was probably like 50 feet, maybe 54. It wasn't 60.
Yeah.
It wasn't a full 60, but I had that blue tarp almost with the hitter.
Oh, perfect.
And then the little box with the strings hanging down.
Yeah.
Dude, I used to just go grab a bucket of balls and just fire them into that thing. And I swear that's how, like, I created that muscle memory of strikes. I would just do it over and over and over.
No pitching coach, wasn't?
Nothing. I mean, I had like a pitching coach I would see.
But it wasn't like, oh man, I got to go to lessons twice a week. I got to.
No. We go see, you know, a lesson every now and then and teach me some fundamentals and stuff like arm action and whatnot. And I had lucky enough to be taught something nice.
Yeah.
And then, I would just go do that. And then I would hit into the net or, you know, but I was doing that just because I liked it.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to do it. I enjoy that. So that little blue tarp thing, I don't know if they still make it, but they should. Cause I swear, like, I could still just throw strikes with my eyes closed.
Dude, I think we've seen it too. Like, dude, there's so much. And I feel like baseball is almost as bad as golf. Like, there's a lot of like gimmicks out there, just like stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But baseball, man, it's literally like, you just need a couple guys and you just go play. And I feel like too, like baseball as a kid, like it'll be interesting to see as our kids get older, but baseball, the knock against it when kids kind of like walk away from it is because it's boring, right? They start to say it's boring. And like, I look at them like, man, I really don't understand that. That was never my experience with it. Maybe that's just because of the team, like the friendships that I had, like, and when I played it, because like, part of what was fun about it is, man, like I got to go do it with like this group of dudes that, you know, lived in my neighborhood, and man, we just got to go play, right? Man. Like we just got to go play. And also too, like part of it was the imagination. Like every time I played, I was Chipper Jones, dude. I was going to play third base. I
had the Chipper Jones Mizuno glove. Bro,
same here, dude. The
off East Bay.
The 9 spikes. Yeah, let's go.
Absolutely had 9 spikes.
That's awesome.
The gold ball.
Yeah, and we've talked about this too. And, you know, we get to spend, when we're not doing this, you know, we get to kind of be analysts for the game for the teams that we work for. And we get caught up in this idea that the game is changing so much because of the information and the analytics and the technology we have, but the game hasn't really changed. It's like, the guy's still standing in the same spot on the mound. The guy's roughly playing the same position. The dimensions of the field are the same. So like you talking about being a kid in the backyard throwing to this target, it hasn't changed. You know, now kids have like the Rapsodo or the TrackMan, all this stuff, but essentially the game's never really changed. There's more information, which, you know, has advanced the game a little bit, but the core essence of the game has never changed.
Yeah, I think the information thing too is it's getting to a certain point where everyone has the same information. So it's like, if you can't implement the information in a strategic way, then you're just kind of running out of, you have all of it, but everyone has it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's no advantage
at one point.
To it.
Yeah, right. It was just at one point, only certain people had it. And now you have all this stuff. And I mean, whether or not it's good or bad, I don't know, you know, but like you said, the game is pretty simple when you break it down.
Yeah.
You know, throw strikes, field the ball when it's hit, and don't make errors, you know, and a lot of the same strategies and principles that were popular maybe 15, 20 years ago still hold true today. And I think sometimes like people try to, dig into the data a little too much when you can focus on stuff.
Trying to put your thumbprint on it or reinvent the wheel.
The wheel's not going to change. It's still going to turn the same way. But
Cody loves talking about this too, because we like to kind of talk about the kind of the youth space and where it's at. But tell us a little bit about your kind of like journey to getting to high school. But he always talks about this idea that a lot of these kids now and them playing is this idea that they want to get to the major leagues. Where when we grew up, our idea of playing little league it was fun. Let's play at 8, let's play at 5 to get to the next year or get to the next sport, and let's build this foundation of teamwork and camaraderie and hard work and like understand that failure is part of life, but failure is also part of the game. Where we see a lot of kids, it's like, hey, I'm 5 years old, I'm going to the big leagues. That was kind of never our idea of like when we were kids. It was like, let's play because it's fun, and I honestly didn't even know I was going to be a major leaguer or like get to pro ball until I got drafted. Like that was kind of never really my thought process or like my trajectory. Maybe when I got to college, I started kind of flirting with the idea of like, what's beyond this, like, oh, you could play in the minor leagues. I didn't know how the minor leagues work, but I was like, I'm going to play. I'm going to be where my feet are. I'm going to try to be the best guy on the field every time I play, and we'll see what happens.
Right. Same. I always thought that would be cool, but I didn't ever really think that was a possibility. Yeah. And like you said, I just tried to be the best at like each level I was at, whether that was high school or junior college or college, and then high A, low A, whatever, in pro ball. I didn't really, when I was growing up, like you said, know anything about pro ball, or like that was my goal when I was 6, is I'm going to be a big leaguer. Maybe it was. I don't really know. I don't really think. I don't.
Well, I think we all. I think it's. I don't.
It was
think
like a dream.
I don't think it was.
Yeah.
I think that's a great way of putting it. Is like I don't think it was a goal. I think and I have this box of paperwork from when I was a kid that my mom saved. Like all your like school projects and stuff, and like I've gone through it with my kids now. It's like when I was 8 years old, I was like, I want to be the center fielder for the Los Angeles Dodgers. That's a dream. That's not like my goal in life. It was always
maybe
the
it was
dream.
Your goal.
Maybe it was my destiny. Yeah. Maybe it was.
Yeah, maybe it was, right? I mean, we always had those thoughts, and I think that is part of it, right? But yeah, it's an interesting way to think about it. Is I don't remember ever being like, I want to. Maybe I did. I did want to be a big league pitcher.
I'm sure at some point it was all like, you're sitting there watching the game, felt like, realistic. Or you're in the yard playing or whatever, and you're like, you're like, man, like I'm on the mound, I'm Josh Beckett, like, dude, how cool to be Josh Beckett, we all do that. At what point did you start to be like, you know what, like I might have a shot to like keep playing this game?
Yeah, so the first time that it kind of felt real was after my sophomore year at junior college.
Oh, okay.
And I got a call from the Brewers, and I think they liked me or whatever, and they're like, what would it take for you to sign? And I didn't have an agent. I didn't know anything. They were calling me, and I was like, I don't know, maybe like $650,000.
Click.
Yeah, they were like, all right, thanks. It's like, okay.
Dang it.
Yeah. So all right, I'm gonna go pitch at Oklahoma instead. I didn't even really want to go to the Brewers. I wanted to go to Oklahoma first.
Yeah.
That wasn't even in my like foresight in my mind. But once that started happening, and I kind of look around, and I'm a little bit better than all the other guys by a little bit. And
yeah.
So, okay, if I'm the best on this team and the best on the other team, maybe the Friday night guy last year got drafted.
Yeah.
I'm the Friday night guy. Maybe I'll get drafted.
I want to backtrack a little bit too, because you go 11-0 with a 1 ERA as a senior.
Where was that?
In high school.
Oh yeah.
In high school, right? So you clearly dominated. At that point, you're not. Are you going to showcases? Are you going to pre-draft workouts? And then ultimately you sign at Sam Houston State. Like what? And you talked about off camera a little bit. Like your career has come down to a bunch of big decisions in your life. Obviously, this seems like kind of your first big decision, because I got to imagine going 11-0 with a 1 ERA in high school in the state of Texas probably gets a lot of attention.
Mm-hmm. You would think so. It was, I committed my junior year to Sam Houston. Okay. No one really wanted me. there weren't big schools calling, and it's like, man, all my other buddies are committing, and I want to commit to a school. And Sam Houston, they had a great head coach and a good program, so I went down there and I was like, yeah, this feels good, and it's a mid-major D1, and I'm gonna get to play on the weekends and pitch. I was a Sunday starter for most of that year. So I went there and I committed there knowing, okay, now I have, a little bit of security, right? Going into my senior year. And then, my senior year, I was just, like you said, 11-0 with a 1. Then everyone else that wasn't on the bandwagon yet, now they were, and now I got teams telling me, hey, go to junior college for a year and we'll sign you as soon as you show up to junior college. And I'm like, well, like I want to stand to my commitment to Sam Houston, right? Like I told you I was coming, I'm gonna come and play.
Yeah.
So I went there my freshman year, and then that's where like the decision started. Because after my freshman year, I was pitching on Sundays, and I'm playing Texas Collegiate League, and all the guys that I'm playing against guys at LSU, South Carolina, and they're like, dude, what are you doing? Like you could play at LSU like tomorrow. I'm like, man, all right, like maybe I can. And then that was my first big decision in the sense of like, hey, look, I'm a transfer.
Yeah.
Because, I'm looking around at guys playing at these other big schools. And
transferring back then this was pre
no NIL portal, right?
This was like, hey, if you want to go to if you want to make a lateral move from a D1 to a D1, you got to make a stop on the way. You got to go to a JUCO.
Yeah.
And you got to spend a year there, which... Right.
Or what would the other option? You could go, but you got a red
You could
shirt.
go down. No.
You couldn't even...
you could go if you had to sit out a year.
You had to sit a year, which I didn't want to sit a year.
Yeah. No. And especially your sophomore year.
Right.
Like, that's a pretty big year. You kind of allow yourself to get into, position yourself going into your draft year. But
right.
Well, I want to touch on that idea. You played in the Texas Collegiate Summer League. And I've talked about this on this show. For me, coming from a Division II school, I got a chance to play in the Northwoods League my junior year.
Nice,
and that was the most pivotal time of my development, because much like you said, like I was in this room with guys at these major D1 schools. I'm this little kid from a Division II school, and I started kind of sizing myself up against real competition. Like I dominated the competition I was at. Like that's kind of where my journey led me to a Division II. But when I got around these guys from Texas and LSU, I was like, holy shit, I think I could really do this, right? And it sounds like you kind of had that same sort of like reality. You finally, size yourself up against the best of the best, and you're like, I'm one of those dudes.
Was there a guy that you played with either that summer or you saw play or whatever that like they were like a guy? And you were like, man, he's good, but he's not that good.
I mean,
or I'm just as good.
Yeah. It was like, it kind of gave you some context, like look around and be like, all right, like I know where I stand.
Well, it's like all the dudes on my high school team, like we all went D1. I mean, we had, dude, our third baseman went to Texas, our catcher went to TCU, our shortstop went to Mississippi State. Everybody was going somewhere. And then had another guy go to a couple JUCO guys. And then, so it started kind of there, I had my buddies going to Texas in the Big 12, and I wanted to play in the Big 12.
Yeah. That was back when the Big 12, I mean, it still is, but like that was like, it was all the Texas A&M,
Nebraska,
Oklahoma.
It was legit. And even into my last year at Oklahoma, the Big 12 was the same way. So it kind of started then as well, right? And then I go to Sam Houston, and I'm sizing myself up in the summer league, and I told my dad, I was like, hey, I think I'm going to transfer. And I knew coaches at Howard out in West Texas that I had a relationship. That the pitching coach was my coach in summer ball.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I texted him, was like, hey, like, do you guys need a pitcher? Or, I'm looking to transfer. And he wasn't like, yeah, like you can come. He's like, no, but like, tell me why, So that was, it's like, all right, well, here's why.
So a lot of people don't know this, but Howard Junior College in West Texas is a powerhouse. Yeah. Were you on that undefeated team?
Yeah.
You were on that team? So that was you. AJ Ramos was on that team, right? No, he wasn't on the team?
No, I don't know where AJ, he went to Tech. I don't know.
I thought he was spent a year at Howard. I know you guys were, there was you had what, 60-0?
Well, Yeah, 63-1. We won 57 straight. So that was my sophomore year.
Oh my
Dude, they were loaded. So I was
so I had some good years, dude. 11-0. I was 13-0 in junior college. So now you're looking at like 25 and 30-3 over a 3-year span.
Dude, so I was
like,
in junior college in 2010 at St. Pete Junior College, and that was the year. That was what you were at Howard. What year? 09?
Yep.
Yeah. So it was the year after, and everybody like.
Yeah.
I was like walking in.
Can you imagine
JUCO
if that would have
space.
happened today with Instagram and Twitter? Like back then,
there'd probably a Netflix documentary about it.
Dude, I've been saying there should be, but
I was walking into this JUCO space that I knew nothing about, and all I kept hearing about was this team. Like they were like, no, there needs to be a league above this one because they got to be in it. And I was like, well, I mean.
Yeah,
dude, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So that conversation you have with the pitching coach to come to Howard, like you talked about, you got to explain why. You tell them the why, and they say, "Come on down." They were like all for what you want to do.
He might have been like playing me a little bit. You know what I mean? He might have been like, "Yeah, like we'll see if there's a spot." I'm like, "Oh man, I hope there's a spot." But man, I knew that there was a spot there. You know, I knew the coaches and that was the thing too. Like now you have kids like, "Oh, like I don't know if I want to go like in that city or like their facilities are bad." Dude, I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I was like, the facilities, I'll make the facilities fine. I can work with anything.
Yeah.
You know, and I just knew that like I needed to do that in order to like stair step, right? And make that next jump. So yeah.
I think a lot of parents, but I think also a lot of kids get caught up in this idea of shiny new toys and the idea of like the name. But for me, I always say like the reason I went to the school that I went to is I didn't have a ton of other offers to go to, but I knew there was a ton of value in playing. I wanted to go somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, I played 3 sports in high school. I really kind of committed to the idea of wanting to pursue baseball my senior year of high school. So I knew I still needed to play.
Yeah.
Like I could have probably walked on at any Division I school in America, any Division I school in California where I was living, Southern California. But I knew there was value in playing. I didn't care about the facilities. I just wanted to play because I knew if I played, I was going to get better. I was going to learn a lot about myself. And ultimately, I felt like everything would take care of itself if I just got a chance to play.
Yeah, and it might have been a good thing I didn't go out there to see it first, you know? I don't know if you've ever been to Big Spring, but it was but that's good for you, right? It's good to be in an uncomfortable situation for a little while.
We both spent time at schools where we like I played college baseball. And we didn't have a locker room, right? Like you got dressed in the parking lot and you just went and played. And I do think that was good for me in a sense of like, because when you do finally get to, you know, where dude, like, I mean, there's fields down the street here that they're nicer than any field I ever played on before I got to the big leagues. Like I think about that. I'm like, man, because I think about the end of my big league career. And I think one of the downfalls of my own kind of like development in my career is you start to develop this level of like entitlement or, you know, you lose the gratitude, right? Like, you know, like I remember showing up, you know, for most of my career and I was like, man, this is awesome. Like I'm so lucky. I'm super fortunate. I get to just play this game. And now I get to do it at the highest level. And when you kind of lose that, man, the game's not as fun. You don't really like, you're not as driven because you're not grateful, right? Like if you're there and you're like, dude, I am so thankful to be here, bro, you're going to squeeze every drop you can out of that.
Yeah. Gratitude and perspective is a really nice tool, right?
Yeah. And so, but you think about like my first real taste of it and like looking back on it is like, man, like I got to play with some great players. And like, I think about like a lot of the kids coming over from the Dominican, they're coming over at like 16, 17, 18, and they're coming to the States where they don't speak the language, you know, like, but dude, those guys absolutely get after it. And I got to imagine there's a level of like, dude, I am in the United States playing a professional game. Like they've got everything they need. Yeah. And they are just getting after it at a level that we've like a lot of us, you don't see it until you see it.
Right.
You think part of the success your team had in JUCO was the idea that all you really had was each other because the facilities were so not good. And it's like, you know what, we're here. Let's make the best of it.
Absolutely. Like the team, right? We're all buddies. And we were just in Big Spring together. We all lived in right field in the dorms. So it was like, we just hung out all the time.
Baseball.
Yeah, and, we would fight and have scuffles, and the Dominicans from New Jersey would fight with the guys from Texas, and not me, but there was that angle to it. We had some dudes from Jersey, and it was JUCO, man.
Yeah.
It was great. It was amazing.
It's real baseball.
So you finished that year. You said 13-0. You guys win 57 straight games. You go 60-1,
63-1,
63-1,
national champs. Yeah,
national championship. You seems like the natural kind of progression after that is another big decision. Are teams starting to call? Are scouts calling you? Major league teams calling you? You're draft eligible because you're a junior college.
Yeah,
and then you end up at Oklahoma. Is there other schools that are kind of pitching for your service? Or
so as soon as I showed up to Howard, like they said in high school, they told me to go to Howard and they'll sign you as soon as you show up. It was almost that way. I went there, and within a couple months, I was committed to Oklahoma. Okay. It was either there or Missouri.
I was going to ask, so was Tony Vitello at Missouri at the time?
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah.
Dang, because that Mizzou program.
Yeah, it was a tough decision, man. It was. Yeah, it was. Scherzer just got out of there. Aaron Crow. Yeah. So they had some dudes coming out of there, and
so he recruits you.
Yep.
I know this is many years ago, and obviously Tony's in the position he's in now, but could you kind of look back and be like, you could see him doing great things, like the way he communicated you, the way he recruited you, or it's kind of...
Yeah, I only talked to him a little bit, a handful of times on the phone, and then went there on the visit. So, but I enjoyed my experiences with him when I was there. And, I think that was kind of like the start of his little run as well,
Yeah.
But yeah, he was a great communicator, very personable. So yeah, all of that makes sense. Right. And then, I kind of wanted to go to Oklahoma anyway. I had some buddies there. It's close to home. It's 2 hours from here. So that was a pretty easy decision, and I liked the staff there. Tim Tadlock was there, who's at Texas Tech now.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that was really the decision. I didn't get a whole lot of pro talk then still. And maybe it was a velo thing. I don't even know what my velocity was in junior college, probably 90.
Yeah.
I've been 90 my whole life. It was never like 94 or maybe a couple times, but I was 90, 92.
Yeah. At the time, are you a little bit confused by that? Or like at this point in time, you're still just like grateful to be playing baseball. You're excited about kind of what's in front of you, the idea of going to Oklahoma, and then I guess the other question is, looking back on it, does it kind of like confuse you, the amount of success you had?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'm doing stuff other guys aren't doing, and then no one really cares about it. I was always kind of overlooked, if that makes sense. Obviously not overlooked. I played at big schools and whatever, but I didn't have all of the big schools calling. I only had like 2.
I'm sure you probably had teammates or guys that you played against. You're like, dude, I've beaten that guy every time.
Yeah.
And he got drafted in the 8th round, and I'm not getting even a phone call. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, for sure. And that kind of fueled me for a lot of my career. And, but I think that helped.
Yeah.
Me. I always had that, like, all right, I got you. Like, we'll see how it all pans out.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So yeah, it was a little bit confusing, but I didn't really care. I was going to Oklahoma and almost on a full ride. I was good.
Yeah. What's that experience like, leaving your junior college, in the middle of nowhere in West Texas, and then showing up on the campus of Oklahoma?
Yeah, it was nice. Right. It was good.
It's like into the Four Seasons, huh?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And, you get Nike gear. It's like, dang, got Nike gloves.
Heck yeah.
Nike, all the Nike stuff. That was amazing. That was what I wanted. Right. And finally it's like, okay, well, here we are now here. And then I showed up, and the coach was like, hey, you're throwing Fridays.
Dude, that's it. So you show up, and they're like,
you're our guy.
You're the guy. Let's go.
With my pedigree beforehand, like now looking back, I can see why.
You never know until you're there. It's all
they had just lost,
talk, right?
They had just lost all of their like weekend guys to the draft. They had, oh my gosh, blanking, Garrett Richards.
Oh wow, yeah,
was there the year before.
Freaking nasty.
Doyle, maybe. Yeah, he was there, the Friday night guy before, went like maybe 4th round to the Rangers.
So you talked about kind of up until this point, it's kind of been you versus the world mentality. You got this chip on your shoulder.
Yeah.
What did that do for you mentally, though, when you show up on the campus of Oklahoma and finally someone gives you this boat of confidence, like, hey, you're our guy, you're pitching Friday nights? Was there kind of this sense of like, not that I made it, but like, man, finally someone appreciates what I do, and it allowed you to kind of like settle into the role, give you some confidence, and just kind of put your best foot forward?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, absolutely. A little bit of that. And, but still the same mentality of like, let's go do this, you know?
Yeah.
Like that was I told you my favorite pitcher was Josh Beckett. Like you seen that dude throw on the mound. Like that was my mantra like the whole time. So, you know, nothing really changed in that sense. Like I was still going to outwork everyone. I was going to lift when other guys weren't lifting. I was going to go do stuff that, you know, others wouldn't.
Yeah.
So it didn't really change too much. But I was just excited, and you know, I wanted to be that guy. Like I wanted the ball on Fridays, you know,
That's awesome.
from forever.
Yeah.
You know, but that's how it was my whole career up until this point. You know, high school I was the guy. You know, junior college I was the guy. So it was pretty normal. Like,
Yeah,
but that was me. I wanted that.
Yeah. But now it's just this. Now it's like each stage is getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Right.
So all right. So you spend the year there. Fast forward, you get to the draft. 17th round pick by the Marlins. And in that draft, the Marlins pick Yelich, Real Muto, and Mark Canha. Right? Was Mark Canha there?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know I saw where they drafted Blake Trinan. He didn't
really?
sign. Yeah, they drafted Blake Trinan.
I didn't know that.
That guy he's still pitching. He's a monster.
Oh, man, yeah.
But
incredible.
So I'm sure you're going in to your first short season or wherever. Did you sign right away, or was it kind of like a longer process?
It was a little bit longer, but my drafting was crazy, dude. Like I had like some bad advice, like in that, like in as far as my representation goes, because I didn't know anything. I didn't know like who I needed to be with. I didn't have agents blowing my phone up.
Yeah.
Again, like I had other players I played with that had agents and had some. Like, I don't have an agent. Like no one wants to be my agent. Like you know, nobody was offering that.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, looking back a little weird. But kind of like we said earlier, it was just overlooked a little bit.
What sort of who was giving you the bad advice, and what was kind of the bad advice you were receiving? Or
I just got like hooked up with not even like a real agent, or it might have been like a lawyer out of Dallas. It was just a bad sort of deal that I got. I don't know how that. Yeah, like maybe my old coach like said that one of our players at JUCO was using him, so you know he should use you. And like, dude, on draft day, like no one could even reach him. Like it was a bad deal. And I was slotted to me. All these teams. I mean, I had a Cub Scout that was with my brother-in-law. I was living with my in-laws in 2019 when I built my house. And he like looked back at his old notes. He's like, yeah, I had you in the 4th round. I was like, damn, dude, that would have been nice.
That would have been real nice. That's a big difference.
You know, it works out how it works out. But then my parents were at my old high school teammates draft party in Flower Mound and met my agent, Jonathan Maurer, with like MSM Sports. And he was amazing. And he took me over.
That's awesome.
And he found out that I didn't have anybody representing me. And he's like, seriously? I'm like, yeah, like we don't know what to do. And so he took me in and got me the money I wanted. And because I always said, like, just give me top 10 round money. It was like $100,000.
Yeah.
And I'm good. I'll go.
Was that the ultimate decision? At that point, are you thinking like, hey, I'm ready to move on.
Yeah.
I want to play professional baseball.
Yeah.
Did you understand at the time you still had leverage because you could have gone back to Oklahoma? Or it was like, give me 100,000 and I'm starting this journey?
I knew that I had a little bit of leverage, but I was ready. I was ready to go. I was ready to, you know, I didn't want to like miss that opportunity and, you know, go back my senior year and for some reason I get hurt or something like that. So, you know, I was seizing that chance. Right. And, you know, it wasn't too much about the money, and it was, and it wasn't, but
I think for a lot of people, obviously, you know, this is a career, this is a job, this is a profession, right? So you're trying to maximize what you can extract, you know, monetarily to start building yourself and your family and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, like when we talk about like, you know, the difference between $100,000 and $130,000, this might sound insensitive or whatever, but like in the grand scheme of it, it really doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for the player at that time, like what that 30 grand may represent is the investment by the club into the player, so the player knows that they're valued at a certain level.
Yeah.
So like when you're negotiating with these teams or when you're asking for a certain amount of money, it's not the money that you'd be happy with. It's what the money represents in regards to the club's investment in you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like we're sitting here like, oh, was it the money? It's like, no, it's never really about the money. It's about, hey, does this team, like, am I going to come in and are they going to really give me an opportunity, or am I just here to, because I had a pitching coach in A-ball that basically, like, Drew Pomeranz was like the big by Cleveland.
I play with Drew.
And I played, we were playing against Manny Machado at the time in the minor leagues, and our pitching coach straight up was like, man, you guys are all here to get these guys ready for the big leagues. And I was like, wait, what? And he was like, man, Pomeranz got to pitch somebody. Machado's got to hit off somebody. And I was like, is that really how this works? Like, I was like just absolutely floored. And I was like, no, I don't believe that. That guy ended up being my big league pitching coach.
I feel like I had a similar experience with that too, because I was a 32nd round draft pick, and I feel like I had a coach in short season ball kind of tell me the same thing. He's like, you're really here so that they could fill out, the 9 positions in the field.
That's messed
and
up,
honestly,
dude.
no, honestly, it was truth that I probably need to hear. But much like you, I mean, that was like the extra like fuel I needed. That was like, it made that chip on my shoulder even larger. I went in with a huge chip, but when someone told me, you're like, you play on this field so that they can fill out the diamond, so that these guys get an opportunity to play and advance and
so
stuff.
they
and I'm
can
like,
develop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll show you.
Yeah.
But that's, I mean, if you're a later round pick, or that, you have to have that.
Yeah.
Or else you'll never make it.
Yep.
There has to be that, like, and I think this correlates to my whole career, like dating back even to high school. It's like, I have like just a really strong belief in myself.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, you have to have that if you're going to do what we did, right?
Dude, and that's one thing, like, so I think we talk about a lot, like we talk about youth sports and all this stuff. And I think just now because of all the data and all the stuff that's there, and you can track and, develop out the player, right? Like the tools, the raw material that the player has. And those things are important. But like outside of that, man, like things like resilience and discipline, and like those things matter so much more than your swing path or your exit velocity or your spin rate.
Yeah.
Because guess what? Like you're going to get somewhere eventually where your numbers, everybody else has got those numbers better.
Yep.
Everybody's got them.
Yeah.
And, the guys that kind of separate themselves are the ones that can just, okay, I don't care.
Right.
Like, oh, so what?
Yeah. Let's go, dude. Bring it.
So you ultimately, kind of get the money you're seeking. It's not necessarily about the money. You're ready to kind of start this journey.
Yeah.
What is that initial experience like? You get drafted. Do you come into mini camp? Do you go straight to an affiliate? Kind of take us through that.
Yeah. So I went at Oklahoma. We went to the College World Series. So we pitched in Omaha. And then so I go from pitching in Omaha, on ESPN to the Red Roof Inn in Hagerstown. Not Hagerstown, Jamestown, New York.
Dude.
So it was
New York
like,
Penn
man,
League.
what did I just sign up for? This is brutal.
Yeah.
I'm like I said, coming from the top of the top on the other level, and then to the very, very bottom.
Jamestown was rough.
Jamestown was rough. I went to the GCL for a couple of weeks just to throw and whatnot, and then they sent me up there, and it went well, but it's like, man, this is crazy.
Dude. Isn't that kind of a wild experience? Because I feel like we have a lot of similarities in the fact that I was so naive about like the draft process, the minor league process. I had no idea what I was getting into. Like I told this story too. Like I was in short season, Bluefield, West Virginia, which is like seriously going back in time. Right. Like I grew up in Southern California. Not that my college was great or anything. We were changing in the parking lot, but like I was still living in Southern California, right? Like when I wasn't, at the field working and stuff, like I could drive 20 minutes and go to Hermosa Beach and like hang out, right? Then I'm thrown into Bluefield, West Virginia. I'm like, where the hell am I? Like, what did I get into? And I told the story, like I was struggling a little bit in the beginning of my short season career. And I had the hitting coach tell me, like, I was kind of pissed off because I was a center fielder in college. They had me playing the corners. He's like, why are you so mad? Like, what if John Farrell wanted you to play right field tomorrow? I'm like, who the hell is John Farrell? Not even knowing that was the manager of the Blue Jays. Like, that's how naive I was, right?
Yeah.
It's just crazy that, like, you go from the top of the totem pole pitching on ESPN in the College World Series, and then you're in, the New York Penn League staying in Red Roof Inn.
Yeah. Yeah. But that was what it was.
Yeah.
And that was
It's like, all right, this is
a
part
little
of
bit
it.
like JUCO to me, just, that's all right. Let's go. Whatever.
How did that first year go in the minor leagues? Did you like hit the ground running and you felt like, man, I made the right decision? Like,
Yeah.
did you start to feel like, hey, there's maybe some momentum, like I'm going to be able to kind of move through this system pretty quickly? Or at that point, you're still kind of like, I'm just going to, whenever they give me the ball, I'm going to pitch.
Yeah. I didn't even, like you said, I was pretty naive to the whole business side of baseball, and I don't even know how many levels there were. I was like, what's AAA? What level are we at?
Well, yeah, where's the top?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, what is this level? They're like, it's the bottom. Okay, like, fine. And then, no, I just had success. So, I wasn't really even thinking about it. I was just pitching.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like you said earlier, it was just very simple. Get guys out, and I knew how to do that. And was with the Marlins for, I guess it was 2.5 seasons, short season. Next year I went to low A, and then the next year was in high A and double A.
When did you get your first big league invite to spring training?
2017.
No
really?
way.
So you climbed in the 2.5 years, which is like a normal trajectory. Like, you kind of hit every stop. You finally get to double A. And what year is that in double A?
Yeah, that's my second full season.
Which is like really
2011.
good. Which is really good.
I think my first year I threw a bunch of innings in low A and did all right. I think I had a 4 or something. It was a huge learning year for me. I was doing way too much.
Were you starter in the minor leagues?
Yeah, always.
Okay, so but that's a big jump too that I don't think a lot of people understand. It's like in college you're pitching once a week to then you go to a 5-day rotation.
Yeah, I was doing too much, dude, and I paid the price. I missed like the last 2 weeks of the year just because I was throwing way too much.
Yeah, dude, and then I think too, like the travel, like the bus leagues, like
they didn't know what
it
to
is
do.
not like that's not conducive to like, hey man, like you're gonna recover, you're it's not like you're eating good food and sleeping on like you got 3 guys in a 1-bedroom apartment, like all this.
Yeah, I think we were young enough to pull that off, right?
Yeah. But it's not. But it's not like set up for success. It's set up for like, hey man,
no, when you're hopping on
grind through it.
When you're hopping on a bus and what league were you in high A? It's the Florida State League low A?
Yeah, high A was that.
High Florida State
low
League.
A was like Sally
League. Yeah, like I didn't play in those leagues, but I'm thinking like, in double A, you go from Manchester, New Hampshire, and you're going to I'm trying to even think of a place in double A you're going to Akron, Ohio, and it's a 12-hour bus ride. If you're the starting pitcher the next day, it's not like they're flying you in and you're getting your rest.
Dude, we were fighting. Sometimes
sometimes you're showing up at a Red Roof Inn at 8 a.m. and they're like, hey, get a couple hours of sleep. You got the ball, 4 hours from now, so like there's this huge learning curve in the minor leagues. And you talked about that being a huge year for you to kind of learn. You said you were doing too much, like
doing too much,
throwing too much, or like you were still, I don't want to say working too hard, but like
working too hard is a good way to put it. Yeah. Throwing too much, long tossing too much, lifting probably like too much. I just didn't have a routine yet. I didn't know what to do. And so finally, I learned as I went and as an end of my career, really, have it figured out. But that was just like a big learning experience was the low A season. And then, the next year started out in high A and then went to double A and pitched in double A my second year. And I did really well. And then I actually got sent down to high A at the end of that year in 2012. And that was a team I was telling you all about. That was just loaded with dudes.
Yeah.
Did you get sent down because that team down there was really good and they were preparing for the postseason? Or was it were you not having success at double A?
No, I did. I was one. Yeah.
Did that high A team go to the playoffs?
Yeah.
I mean, that's typically kind of what happens. They sit you down to kind of be with those guys and kind of. So at that point, they're probably thinking you're part of this core group of guys that kind of want you to kind of move.
You would think
through
so,
the system.
or somebody got sent down from AAA and I was the odd guy out, which is like pretty standard for my career. Was, hey, someone's coming down, you're going out, that kind of deal. It was. Maybe I was going down there to pitch with those dudes and hang out and be a part of that group. I would like to think so, but yeah, it was a really really good team.
Yeah, name some of those guys that were on that team.
So starting pitchers, we had me, Adam Conley. I don't know if you remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nasty lefty. Jose Fernandez on the bump. Right field was Mark Canna. Center field was Christian Yelich. Left field was Marcelo Zuna. Catcher was JT Realmuto. Shortstop, right first base.
Justin Bohr yet, maybe?
No, not yet. No, he was in that big trade like the next year. Then we had a couple guys in the pen. Grant Dayton, Michael Brady was a big leaguer. So we had a.
Was Nathan Eovaldi? No, he was still with the Dodgers, right? Did he?
Yeah, he
was
wasn't
from the
with
Dodgers
Miami. Yeah. That there was like that massive trade the next year.
Yeah, Andrew Heaney
when we switched colors and we were the Miami, not Florida.
Dude, you just named like those aren't just like big leaguers, right? Those are guys, and I want everybody to like rest in peace, Jose Fernandez. That was terrible. I mean, awful. What happened to him? He was. He threw a game against Cleveland. I was there in Miami in 2013. It was probably the most dominant performance I've ever seen live in person. It was either that or Corey Kluber punching out 18 against St. Louis in 8 innings. He legit was throwing that slider. That was unhittable.
Probably
he was
sweeper
throwing
in today's terms.
Dude, it was like, you know how as like a hitter, like say somebody like Andrew Miller, right? Like somebody who had that nasty slider, they would throw it you get the really ugly swings, but it's ugly because the pitch is 2 feet out of the strike zone and they're trying to hit it. He got those swings on strike sliders. Like it'd be right down the middle. And I mean, the biggest swords ever were coming out. Like they were swatting at it like it was a fly. And these are big league hitters. These are guys like Asdrubal Cabrera, Nick Swisher, and JC. I mean, it was the nastiest performance I've ever seen. And he was like 20 years old at the time.
Yep.
I mean, dude, he was a monster.
Yeah. I don't know how we lost that series, but somehow the Tigers beat us in that. Yeah.
No way.
We lost in the championship. We won the year before in low A.
Okay.
Yeah. And so the next year we lost in the championship series in high A or whatever. But yeah, we had a really nice team.
What do you kind of remember about Jose, being around him, watching him? Like, could you tell at that point? And we love talking about this on the show because I think the coolest thing about baseball, and then maybe this applies to other sports, but like the talent discrepancy between the guys that are like the Hall of Famers and the guys kind of that are sitting in this chair right now, the gap is so large, right?
Guys are nasty.
Dude. The gap can be so large, like I was a good player, but then I was in clubhouses with guys. I'm like, how the hell did they let me play on the field with these guys? Did you kind of have that? And you obviously had the ultimate belief in yourself, but you also seem like a realist. Like when you were around Jose, were you like, man, this guy's different. This guy's special?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he was how old when you played with him? He was probably like 18, 19?
Yeah, 18, 19 probably. Yeah, he was, it was just really easy.
Yeah.
Is what I remember. Like he would just lift his leg and it just looked very easy to him. Like that was what he was. Like we were all meant to play baseball, but that was what he was meant to do. And he would, dude, his legs, bro, were massive back then. That was when he was a little maybe thicker. That was like one of the things. It's like, hey, you got to watch his weight a little bit. That was a thing when he was first coming up. And then he trimmed up and was what he was, right,
bro?
Did you see those same sort of kind of characteristics in the guys like JT and Yelich and Marcel? You're like, whoa.
JT and Yelich were always. We all hung out together.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was, they had those, I feel like the characteristics today, they're the same dudes they were then.
Yeah.
JT was not like very outspoken, but like when JT said something, I was like, yeah, like
you listen.
JT's talking. Yeah.
That's sick. So, he's
SoCal dude, awesome guy. And we had a great time, man.
And I feel like those two guys, especially Yelich, like I think his career, like the things that he's done, it really wasn't until I remember in the 2017 WBC. I think it was 2007. Yeah, 2017 WBC. We're just coming off this one. So, I mean, like WBC's fresh on everybody's mind. But U.S. won the gold that year. And Yelich was like a huge part of that team. And that was kind of his, like, everybody's like, man, this guy's pretty good. And everybody's like, well, no, duh. Like, have y'all ever watched him? But it was because he was in Milwaukee or in Florida, trying to compete. And then he comes out in the WBC. The Brewers have some good seasons. He wins the MVP. And they're like, oh, wait, like this guy is actually like, he's at the same level as the top 5, 6 players in the game. Because, I mean, dude, he is like you talk about like the distance between, there's big leaguers and then there's like this small collective group of guys.
I just don't like one of my biggest things I wish that we could see play out in obviously history, but if the Marlins would have just kept our group together, if they would have just kept us together the whole time, they were there a little bit, but like just kept everyone there and let us develop in the big leagues together. I think that was a crazy nucleus of a group. I mean, I even list like my high A team, that was theirs.
Yeah. And that's not including Stanton.
Right.
That's not including
Giancarlo now, but he was Mike at the time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mike Stanton at the time. Who else? Justin Bohr.
You got there the next year.
Yeah, Justin Bohr.
Yeah.
I feel like this has been talked about numerous times because then you talk about the pitching side. Dude, Luis Castillo was with the Marlins.
Mm-hmm.
You had Jose, Luis Castillo, Adam Conley, Andrew Heaney.
Yep.
Nate Eovaldi.
Pretty wild,
bro. Monsters, absolute monsters.
That would have been cool to see, but I guess
Danny Echeverria.
Yep,
another guy.
We'll never know. Hey, so 2015, you get DFA'd or traded to Oakland. You get traded to Oakland?
No, I'll tell you how it went down.
Yeah.
So 2013, 2012, like I said, I was in AA. I go to high A. I dominate everywhere I went that year.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool. Like I'm going to come and go to AA next year. I after spring training in 2013, they're like, yeah, we got a spot in the high A bullpen if you want it, or you can have your release. I was like, seriously? Like that's my options? I was like, all right, give me a day. And I came back the next day and I told my agent, like, hey, I gotta get out of here. Like they don't see what I see. They don't value, me. I can tell, I can feel that. And so he got on the phone, did what he did, and he got me to Oakland. And of course, like I look back and I look at my stats and I'm like, yeah, of course Oakland wanted me.
Yeah.
I struck guys out. I didn't give up hits. I never walked anyone ever.
Yeah.
So I played it right into that like Moneyball equation. And so I go in, I'll never forget this. I was always a big golfer. But I go play PJ National, and on 17, that big par 3, I don't know if you watched the tournament a couple of years ago.
I played it.
Yeah. Okay. So 17, like I get the call right before I like tee off. My agent's like, hey, Oakland signed you or whatever. I'm like, nice. And so that hole will always be very special to me. It's like, that's when I went. And so I went in the next day to the Marlins. I was like, hey, I'm out of here. So give me my release. I'm going to Oakland. And
that's awesome.
Like, oh, well, like, no. Like you said,
what's that saying? Somebody's, and I think we've all kind of been there where we've been like kind of discarded by someone and valued somewhere else. Like someone's trash is someone else's treasure. Like, dude, I got cut from my college baseball team, right?
Yeah.
Like,
did you feel like you knew, like you talked about it now? Are you speaking like in being able to look back on it? But at the time, did you understand like when he said Oakland, like you knew you fit the equation? Like you felt like this was the right place for me because you knew how Oakland kind of operated. You knew how you were as a pitcher. You knew you kind of fit their mold. And does that kind of give you the confidence, like going in, like, hey, they value me. I fit what they do. I'm going to get a chance to potentially pitch in the big leagues here soon.
Yeah. And even then it wasn't even like the big leagues. The big leagues felt so far away. It's like, yeah, right. That'll never happen, dude. No way. Even when I like reported to AA in 2013, I wasn't like, it felt so far away at that point, but dude, I just wanted those white spikes.
Yeah.
I needed those white cleats, and the Marlins, they're always like, hey, let me see some sock, don't let your pants touch your shoes. I'll show up to Oakland and they're like, hey man, we got no rules.
Just be
literally no rules.
Just go play baseball.
Just play hard. I'm like, I can do that.
That's awesome.
That was the Oakland vibe.
You know what, man? Oakland kind of gets dumped on a little bit as an organization. Obviously, like even in the movie, you got Brad Pitt playing Billy Bean, like, there's 29 teams and there's 50 feet of crap and then there's us, kind of thing.
I don't ever believe
dude,
that
I don't think I've ever met anybody that's been a part of that organization or played there or even in the minor leagues that have amazing things to say about Oakland.
Yeah.
Because
that's
I think
my team.
it's a culture thing. I think it really is a culture thing. You guys are like, dude, loved playing there.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah, and even though the Coliseum was a dump, and I know where they're playing right now is not much better, but I have a lot of really good friends that came up in the Oakland organization that played in the Coliseum, and it was a lot like that mindset you had in junior college. It's like, we have shitty facilities, but it's us versus everyone else.
Right.
And I think that's why they've always been able to, let's not forget that they're good at like winning the margins. We've
Oh,
all
yeah.
seen the movie, right? But I
Yeah.
think it's also this idea of like, hey, it's us versus everyone else.
Yeah, dude, we were a bunch of just like grinders. Like, we didn't care about fancy stuff, We're just gonna play hard. We had beard. I could grow a beard. Marlins, I could have a goatee or a mustache. And like, I can't rock a goatee, dude. So I showed up there, and I can grow a beard now. No one's checking my hair length. So it was like a freeing atmosphere of like just play and be yourself, and that's all we care about, and then that is contagious, and that is fun.
Was Bob Melvin the manager, the big league manager at the time?
Yeah, my debut. Yeah.
That's cool.
Let's get to that. Let's get to the major league debut in 2016. But looking at my notes here, I don't know if you realize this. Do you know you had over 700 innings pitched in the minor leagues before you got called up?
Yeah, I think I had an idea about that.
Dude, that's a lot.
Yeah.
At any point during those 700 innings, do you feel like you're going to give up, or you were on this journey till I can't throw anymore? Because obviously, at some point, 700 innings is a lot of innings to pitch,
Yeah.
And I don't think people, and we try to touch on it a little bit, but like the minor league lifestyle is not the most glamorous. You don't make a ton of money. As you start to get a little bit older, you probably have a girlfriend or fiance, or probably married. You're probably thinking about having a family. Like, these are all decisions that we have to come to terms with, when we're going through that minor league journey. It's like, is this for me? Can I survive off of making 40 grand a month? I want to have kids. 40 grand.
Yeah, $400 a month.
I would say maybe if you're on the 40 man, maybe you're making 40,000 a year. Sorry. Yeah. 40,000 a year, maybe at the most 20,000 a year.
I had a great support system. My parents were in Flower Mound. I lived there. My now wife was working, basically floating our relationship, and she was in Dallas. So I had a great setup in the off season. It was never like, oh man, I can't do this because I'm not making any money. I was very lucky in that sense. But it got to a point, and I remember like the day I got called up, I remember walking to the field, and the big league team was getting crushed by the Red Sox. And I was in AAA. And finally,
Nashville at the time?
Nashville. Finally, 2016, I broke with AAA. Okay. 13, 14, 15, I was in AA to start. So that was a lot to handle too.
Yeah.
I led the organization in innings pitch for 3 years, doing pretty well. It's like, man, this is never going to happen. I remember walking, I was like, maybe I'll just get to minor league free agency and finally like make some cash. Because guys were doing that, making 20 grand a month back then. It's like, man, I don't think this will ever happen. And then that night, it happened. Like, that's when it happened.
Tell us about that.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, because we love hearing about that kind of moment in time.
Yeah.
Like, we'll never forget ours. So you're in Nashville. You're walking to the field.
We're in Iowa.
You're in Iowa. Yep. So you're walking to the field from the hotel, like most of us do. You typically stay close proximity to the field. You walk over. Typically, when you're in the minor leagues, your big league team is on the TV if they're playing, not at the same time. You notice they're getting crushed. You probably have no idea.
Running through arms.
Yeah. Maybe in hindsight, you could kind of look back and be like, oh, maybe. But take us to that moment. You're at the field. Who calls you? Do you get called in the office? What's that conversation like?
So it was May 11th, I think. So I had pitched for 5 weeks at that point. I pitched well. I was throwing, as good as anybody on the team. And so I threw a bullpen that day, whatever, do my stuff. We go to the game. I'm in the dugout, and I know that like the team's getting crushed in the big leagues, and they're running through guys. And whenever the trainer's phone rings, that was the guy, right?
Yeah.
The trainer was the one who, and then Brad LaRosa, who's now with Miami, funny enough, I see his phone ring, and he's like, and he hands it to the pitching coach, and my pitching coach is he didn't know that I was standing back there. He's like, yeah. He's like, yeah. He threw a bullpen today. He's like, yeah, he could probably throw tomorrow. I was like, I threw a bullpen today. Nobody else threw a bullpen today. He's like,
they're talking about me.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, that's me, dude. Like, and
are you trying to play cool?
Yeah, and I go in the bathroom, like, oh shit, dude. Like, I think they're talking about me. And so he kind of blew his cover, initially there. And then we go in the clubhouse and just kind of waiting around for somebody to tap me on the shoulder or whatever. And then they do that and go in. They're like, hey, kind of weird news, but we're gonna need you like out of the pen tomorrow. I'm like, what? I just heard him say all that. And he's like, yeah, but it's the pin in Fenway. So I'm like, damn. All right. So then it was, I still get choked up. But
That's freaking awesome. Who was your first phone call?
bro, who you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
Of course.
dude, at Fenway Park.
No, I just hold on. We go to show him right here because
Yeah,
we're talking about perseverance. We're talking about this no quit mentality and what we're in 2025 now. So this is almost 10 years ago. Like the emotions of someone that finally works his ass off and finally gets rewarded. Like, I mean, I get goosebumps hearing his story. It makes me think about my own story because it's, we're going back to when we're a little kid and we play this game because it's fun. And we think that this idea is unachievable. It's a dream that we have. It's something that we all want. But for you to go through 700 innings, over 700 innings pitched in the minor leagues, to repeat AA 3 times, to finally get your opportunity to pick up the phone and call your parents, call your wife at the time, girlfriend, fiance, maybe at the time, to let her know, like, hey, I'm going to the big leagues. Like it's something you can't fake it, man. Like,
bro,
the emotion's real, and
yeah, you guys all did that. So
yeah.
I mean, dude, you hadn't even been to big league camp yet.
No.
You hadn't even been to big league camp yet. And so
nobody knows who I was. Like,
dude,
nobody had any idea.
So 2016, you were probably what, 26, 27?
Yeah, 26, yeah.
And so, man, dude, I wish I could describe what that feeling.
We don't need to describe it. We're seeing it. This is 10 years later. Like, you still get tears in your eyes.
I wish people everywhere, whatever it is you do, whatever it is your thing. I hope everyone at some point gets a chance to like have that feeling of like, I made it. Like, you have decades invested into this thing and of grinding. Because you're talking, I mean, dude, like, you're the epitome of grinder. Like, you are like the epitome of grinder. And
I can only relate it to 2 other things in my life. Like, the debut is like, I remember getting those kind of same emotions, and maybe I still get those same emotions when I think about when I watched my wife come down the aisle. It's like, okay, that's like a very heavy moment in your life. You're like, man, I made it. Like, I finally found the person I'm going to marry for the rest of my life. Like, I still get kind of teary-eyed thinking about it. And then the only other time I've ever really felt that way in my life is when my kids were born. So so like, that's like the power of that moment, because you've worked your whole life for it, and you finally someone sees what you've seen in yourself for so many years, and you've put the work in. So take us to that moment of, you fly to Boston.
Yeah,
you're finally in a 4 Seasons.
Yeah, funny enough, I didn't even get to stay in Boston the night. We flew to Tampa that night. But yeah, just the feeling of it's crazy. I mean, you guys all experienced that, but flying into Boston, like, open up the plane window and you see the Fenway, and it's just crazy.
Dude, yeah.
Right. And
you're walking through, and that's I
got to pitch that night and throw 3 innings against Pig Poppy and Pedroia.
We want to talk about this. So
let's talk about that.
What's that emotion like too? You get on the bus and you pull up to Fenway Park for the first time.
I got out of the cab.
You got out of a cab.
Yeah, the cabbie's like, where do you go? I'm like, I have no idea.
Yawkey Way.
Yeah, I was like, maybe where the visiting team is. I don't know where that is. Right? I don't know. Just drop me off. I'll figure it out. Yeah.
And not to mention, you probably coming straight from the airport. So you got your suitcase, your backpack, maybe your carry-on, and you're also carrying your baseball bag.
Yep.
When stuff like that happens,
Big green and yellow bag.
It's not always like this perfect.
Yeah, green and yellow.
Green and yellow bag with an A on the side.
It's not this perfect science. Like, you get to show up at the hotel, you take the bus, but like you're literally carrying your own bags in. Maybe a clubhouse attendant meets you out at the gate. They walk you in.
No, they didn't even. I had to carry my stuff.
Hey, where do I go? Where do I go? Where do I go? Where do I go?
Like, visiting team. They're like, who are you? I don't know, player.
Yeah.
Where do I head? Right.
It's my first
day.
So
what is that moment like? You walk into a big league clubhouse the first time.
Extremely overwhelming. For me, it was.
Yeah.
None of these guys knew who I was, and there's a bunch of really good players on that team, and they're all much older and more established. But I knew some guys on the team as well that were my age, and that made it a little more comfortable. But
who were some of those guys that you knew that? And then at the same time, you show up for the first time, maybe, as a fairly unknown guy. Like, who's someone that kind of, took you under the wing, maybe walked you out to the bullpen, like told you like the time stretch was going to be at?
Yeah, so my pitching coordinator was the bullpen coach. My coordinator I had the whole time. So he was always very helpful and let me know what's going on. And, he was there. And a couple other guys that I had played with in Nashville, right, that were there as well. So obviously I gravitated towards them. But you had guys like Ryan Matson in the bullpen, John Axford. You had some seriously salty dudes that.
Was Sean Doolittle there?
Doolittle was there as well. Yeah. So, but they took me in as well.
Yeah.
They were always very welcoming, took care of me. And so, but that was like the A's culture, right? It was very chill.
Dude, I gotta give, you just brought up this guy, John Axford, man. I gotta give him some love on the show because he was the closer in Cleveland in 2014. They signed him that offseason. He was a monster in Milwaukee. 2-time National League Reliever of the Year. I mean, dude just was nails. And had a rough year in Milwaukee, gets traded to St. Louis. We sign him. And I'm kind of the closer in waiting a little bit, right? And so they signed him. He loses the job to me, right? But, dude, throughout the whole process, throughout that entire season, he is, like, coaching me up. Like, he could very easily be like, good luck, kid. Go figure it out. Right.
No,
go figure it out.
That wasn't him.
No, dude. He was like, hey, this is, like, these are the things you need to look for. Like, cause I mean, he'd been there, done it, man. And I was the guy that essentially, took his job. So, and he could have very easily been like, go for it. You go buddy. Figure it out. And no, man, he was
Matson
like, nope.
was especially helpful.
What's that?
Matson.
Mad Dog.
Very helpful. Yeah.
He was but like Axford, man, like hats off to him. Hope he watches the show because he was, I mean,
I still have the
instrumental
suit
in
that
my
him
career.
and Matson bought me.
What's that?
They bought us suits.
Did they? Dude, that's freaking, man.
Yeah.
That's what veterans are supposed to be, man. That's what they're supposed to be.
Still rock it.
You,
Still fits me.
ton of emotions. You're there for the first time. Take us to that moment that phone rings in the bullpen and they say, hey, Zach or Neal, like, hey, get hot.
Just like weightless,
How many pitches did it take you to get loose?
Not that
2?
many. Yeah, maybe 2 or 3. Yeah, not many at all.
Yeah.
But no, it was just kind of the same thing. Like I was ready.
Yeah.
Wasn't like nervous about it, or I was like,
do the gates open? You run in. It's like
crazy.
And the moment's real. You get on the mound. Do you remember like getting on the mound and being able to like kind of take it all in, look at it, look around, understand I'm in Fenway Park. You obviously at the time too, this is 2016. Like this is a really good Boston.
That lineup is loaded that year.
Red Sox lineup.
Yeah, they were
Who's
really
the first
good.
guy you faced?
I think it was Vasquez, maybe.
Christian Vasquez.
Yeah, and then Jackie
you threw
Bradley.
You threw 3 innings, so you faced all the guys. You faced all the guys.
I gave up a 2-run homer to Jackie Bradley. I struck him out. That was my first strikeout, and then that was my first home run I gave up as well.
He had a good year.
But, it happens. But, yeah, like I said, I was been preparing for that moment. Just being Friday guy at OU, I wanted that, like, ball, right? So I was ready to rock. Let's go.
What was your, like, because we all had it, right? We've all got it. What was your, like, oh shit moment?
Like
when a guy stepped in the box. Because I know for me,
Big Papi, dude.
Oh, sorry. So I had to get there. Dude, I know for me, outside of like just like the first guy you faced, right? Like I faced Matt Wieters was the first hitter I faced. And first thing I thought of was like, I feel like I'm pitching from center field. And this guy's giant, right? And but then, Jim Thome was in the on deck circle. And I was like, what the hell am I doing here? There. Right. And then my next 2 like real big, like kind of, moments were first time I faced Miguel Cabrera, and then Jeter. And so, I mean, you're talking about like, Hall of Fame, like Mount Rushmore players. Big Papi's one of those. You could even honestly put Pedroia in there. It's like the lure. But like, dude, it's freaking Big Papi. And this is his going out year. Like he's done after this year. He's still raking. He's still absolutely
It was
crushing.
so cool, dude. Like that was like we're on the same field.
Yeah.
We
What'd
made
he
it.
do?
That was the coolest part.
What'd he do?
I think he flew out to right.
Let's go.
I got lucky. I threw a little lazy change up, and it was just enough to like miss. He capped it a little bit.
Dude, that's awesome.
But yeah, it was crazy.
That's sick.
and
So
then,
you pitched 3 innings out of relief. Because a lot of times relievers will go in and do like their arm care or sit in the dugout or go sit in the clubhouse. Do you remember just kind of sitting in the dugout, taking it all in?
oh, I threw 6, 7, 8. So
6, 7, 8.
yeah, we lost in the top 9, so that was it. But yeah, went in and did all my stuff, and obviously my family and everyone was there, and all my friends afterwards. So
That's cool.
Yeah, and then that was it. On to Tampa. We had an off day in Tampa. Just tried to sleep in, and everything kind of changes at that point.
Yeah.
Right. Your career is on a different trajectory than it was before, and you're on a different, it's a different level of everything.
Gotta ask you this. So where did you guys stay in Tampa, the Vinoy?
Yeah.
First time you had your own hotel room?
Yeah.
How nice is that?
That was nice. Yeah.
You got to share a hotel room every time in the minor leagues. You get there and you're like, heck yeah, man, this is mine.
Oh, my own room, right? Yeah.
That's awesome.
That was a perk. And then, my wife was there at the off day in Tampa, and then there it was. And then the whole 2016, I think I threw.
You stayed up the whole year?
A majority. Yeah. I think I threw 70 something innings.
Wow. That's awesome.
76 innings out of the bullpen.
Yeah. And some starts.
Yeah.
I threw a couple starts. I had some, 4 or 5 starts, Angels, Orioles, and did well. And I was like, okay, 70 something innings, 4.2. That's pretty good.
Heck yeah, dude. I'm a big leaguer.
So the following year, you get an opportunity to go to your first spring training. Big league spring training.
Funny. I actually got DFA'd before spring training, and they called me and they were like, we'll let you know if you're going to go to big league camp. I'm like, big league camp? I was just with the team the whole year before. What are you talking about? Let me know. Like, what? I still don't get to go to big league camp? I was on the team last year, so I was like, man, all right. And you're going to come to big league camp, whatever. And so 2017 is kind of the same. I didn't throw a whole lot, and when I threw, it was okay, and I only got 12 innings. I'll go from 70 to 12.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I threw 70. Maybe I get 70 again.
Yeah.
And I threw well. And because, sometimes when you only get a small sample size, you see a guy has a bad ERA. Well, he has a bad ERA because he threw 2 bad innings out of 12.
Yeah.
Right. But if you get 80, it kind of all evens out.
It's much like a batting average. It's easy to fool people through 100 at bats.
Yeah. 5 for 10 and 500.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
Used to like
the sample size, right?
After 10 at bats.
Yeah. Right. So just a lot of up and down that year, AAA big leagues, but just kind of, that's when it all just started, was just pitching, going at it, trying to do
and then
my
what
best.
happened in 2018?
That
so
was
you end up with the Dodgers at some point, and that team's obviously team that loses in the World Series that year. And no offense to Oakland, obviously they probably had some great players, but we talked about it too. Like, I played a long time, and then I got a chance to play for the Dodgers. And when I walked into that clubhouse, it was like, whoa, this is different, man. Like, Clayton Kershaw's in there, Kenley Jansen's in there, Cody Bellinger, Matt Kemp, Justin Turner,
Jock Peterson. Yeah, like a lot of dudes, right?
Yeah,
so that was like a crazy locker room to be a part of. Y'all sell Puigs across the way,
Oh yeah.
So it was. Damn, this is even crazier than Oakland, and it felt like bigger.
Yeah, that 2018 team,
and you were in spring training with them. So
big league camp.
So how did you? So at the end of the 2017 season, they DFA you, and then the Dodgers claim you.
No, I was just unrestricted free agent. Yeah, so the Dodgers. Farhan Zaidi was with Oakland. He always was a big fan. He went to the Dodgers. He brought me with him essentially, and so I was with them and I pitched 1 inning out of relief in the big leagues, and then got DFA'd.
Yeah.
And then I got traded to the Reds actually. And and this was like coming up on another big decision in my life. I go to Cincinnati. I'm there until July, like May to July. I'm not in a great like headspace. I'm like, I was just with LA.
Yeah.
And then I go here and I show up to Cincinnati, and they're like, who are you? I'm like, what do you mean? I just got traded here.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
You guys chose me.
Yeah. They're like, oh, okay. Well, we didn't know that, but I guess you'll be in the bullpen tonight. And I'm in AAA. I'm like, jeez, dude, this isn't a good start.
Yeah.
Right. So it was kind of Louisville. It's kind of a weird feeling the whole time. And I probably didn't help myself by not throwing as well as I could have. And that never helps, right? In this profession, not doing what you maybe can or as well as you should doesn't help things. But it just had a bad feeling to it. And I saw a lot in my career. You guys saw a lot of this too, where, guys would get traded and they would get into certain situations and the situation wasn't maybe good for them. And it's not their fault. They got traded there. They had a bad 3 months and then it's done.
Yeah.
Right. We saw that to where sometimes I needed to be a little bit more proactive of, hey, look, this isn't going well. I'm going to try to fix it. I'm going to try to get out of here. And so I called the Dodgers in June. It's like, hey, look, I know you guys are having a lot of arm injuries. I've been following along. Can you please just get me out of here? I was like, I'll do anything. I was like, I'll throw BP. I'll literally do whatever you want. I just need to get out of this situation.
Yeah.
Right. And so they call me back and like, yeah, we can't do it right now. Yada, yada, yada. And they basically say no. I'm like, okay, well, at least I tried.
Yeah.
At least I gave an effort to make this better and try to change my situation. And so I'd kind of written that off. And then July 4th, we're going up to play. And where was it? I don't remember. And the Reds call me. He's like, hey, you just got traded back to the Dodgers. I was like, no way, dude.
Yeah.
And now I'm like on cloud 9.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, with Cincinnati, I've been training really hard. I've been working on my mechanics. I've been trying to clean it up. It wasn't as if I was, I'm not going to work hard here. I was trying to better myself in anticipation of something different happening.
Yeah.
Right. So when it does happen, I'm ready, and so that trade goes down and I go to LA and I'm in the starting rotation in AAA and I throw great. I throw better than maybe ever, but I had been working on that for a while in Louisville and the moment came and I was ready to do that. And then it was that August that Japan saw me and I was throwing so well. And then from there, that next offseason, I go to Japan. But it was that moment of, I got to get out of here. I had that gut feeling of, I need, kind of like with Sam Houston, right? I needed to make a change because I know that it can be different, but I got to try and ask.
Yeah.
You never know.
When you say Japan saw me, was there a liaison or somebody with the Dodgers that was over there from Cebu or?
No, with AAA teams, they're hey, Japan's here. In the clubhouse, okay. There's Japanese scouts here. Everyone, even back then, everyone wanted to go to Japan. I wanted to go to Japan. That was something that was on my radar for a long time.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I wanted an opportunity to start. I didn't really get that in the big leagues. No one ever gave me hey, here's the ball for 32 starts.
Yeah.
Because I always had the belief that if you gave me 32 games, close your eyes and at the end of the season, it's going to be all right.
Yeah.
I was going to figure it out and it was going to be, ton of strikes, 4.5 ERA.
Yeah.
I'm not going to miss any games. I had that belief. And so I was always waiting for that opportunity. And then, so I was doing well in Oklahoma City and then Japan.
Do you feel like making that decision to go to Japan was a lot easier knowing that you kind of had checked the box of pitching in the big leagues?
Yeah. And I kind of like I said, in my first year, I threw 70 something innings and had a 4.2. And then after that, it was I only got 12 and then I only got 1, so I kind of had seen, but you know how it is. There's other guys in the organization that they gave money to and they're pushing prospects. And I understand that it's a business, Oakland had zero money invested in me, but they gave me my chance. I'm forever grateful. That's my team, but in the same sense, looking out for myself, I wanted to go make some money.
Yeah.
And Japan was that ticket. Right. And they called my agent and, they made an offer and I just said, sign it. I don't care what it is. It's more than I'm making this year. So sign that dang thing. Right. It's don't mess this up. And they came back and countered and I was gone. Couldn't have signed faster.
And obviously the money was a big part of it, but at that point it's still, I just want the opportunity to go out there and start for an entire season and see what I'm really made of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And boy, did you find out real quick, because I'm looking at the numbers here, 12-1 with a 2.87 ERA. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
Dude. So can you tell us a little bit about kind of what that journey is like when you agree to that deal? What is that like? What does it entail for you to pick up? You're living here in Texas. Where do you go to spring training? How do you find living in Japan? What was kind of the culture shock going to Japan? What was your overall experience like? Did your wife come with you at the time? Were you going solo?
Yeah. Me and my wife, we love to travel. That was our favorite thing. So whenever this opportunity, she's like, yeah, I'm stopping work. We're going. And We just jumped in head first, right? Into the culture, all of it. And it's a seamless process. The team handles everything. So you basically just show up. Like, we'll pick you up at Narita Airport and like, let's go. And that's what happened. And it was really, really easy. But even in the minor leagues in Japan, I still had a little bit of that JUCO grind in me, because in spring training, I pulled my left hamstring. And like, as you know, as a pitcher, pulled left hamstring is not good.
No, that's
not good at all. And, maybe I was doing too much, running a little bit faster than I should. Not a fast runner. I don't know why I'm trying to run fast and show these guys that but I'm trying to show them that, I work hard and do my stuff, and boom, it was cold, left hamstring, pulled it pretty good. And so now I'm racing this hamstring back to try to be ready for my first start in the big leagues in Japan.
Yeah.
I just signed here. I'm like their guy. And now I have a pulled hamstring. It's like, okay, maybe rushing the moment a little bit and trying to force that, only because I was so excited. And so I don't pitch great my first like 4 games in Japan. I pitch okay. I'm not 100%, it's just not that great. And so they sent me to the minor leagues. So now I'm in the minor leagues in Japan, it's like, God, unbelievable, dude. Like, I just can't get out of the minor leagues, for whatever, but it ended up being for the better. So I'm in the minor leagues for, like 2 months, throwing okay, not great. Hamstring's getting better. I'm feeling stronger. I'm again working really hard to try to be like my best, but just because like this opportunity is so short, and I realized that. And so I'm doing extra stuff. I'm trying to get right, and it's just not great. Like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's mental, but at one point I gave up like 7 or 8 runs in 3 innings in Japan in the minor leagues, just barrels, whack, 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 whack. I'm like, man, that's it. Like, I'm not ever going to pitch in the big leagues here again. It's like, it was a nice time,
Yeah.
It was a good experience. I'm very thankful, but pitching up there again is probably not going to happen, because why should it? I didn't even pitch well in the minor leagues, and that's how they operate, right? Like, if you're not pitching good there, how could you ever pitch good up there? But they needed it. They needed an arm, and so I go up 1 game. So they tell me that. They're like, hey, you're going to go up and pitch in the big leagues next week. I'm like, what? Really? Okay. And at this point, I'd kind of written it all off, because I wasn't doing well. And so I had a carefree attitude to the whole thing. I'm not like,
no pressure.
Yeah, no, whatever. Like,
house money at this point.
Yeah, I'm not going to ever pitch here again. Look how I've been pitching. And then I get called up, and something clicks to where it's just easy.
Yeah.
And I win. I won my next 14 games.
That's
broke all like the records of 14 straight wins. And I got up there. The team was down 12 games to first place. They're in like 4th place. I go 12-0 in my next 12 starts. And then we make the playoffs. We win the league, and we win the league by 1 game. And so it was a really surreal year. And it felt like all the like BS and stuff that I had dealt with all like aligned. It was just easy. First and third one out, double play. Bases loaded, 1 out, double play. It just felt like the stars aligned, and it was just crazy 14 weeks of baseball.
So for our listeners and viewers, like, baseball in Japan is it, right? Like, there's really, I think, there's soccer over there, but like, baseball is king. Mm-hmm. And so the playoffs over there has got to be just banana. Like, I know we just got done watching the WBC, the Tokyo Dome, and Japan was playing over there. Like, it is such a big deal. And so who are like the big dogs over there? It's like Nippon Ham and
Tokyo Giants.
The Giants, right? Like, those are kind of the 2 big market clubs.
Giants and SoftBank, I would say.
SoftBank
too.
Yeah. And so, did you guys end up playing either one of them in the postseason?
Yeah. So we had a first round bye because we won the league, and then we played SoftBank. Yeah. And I pitched first game of the playoffs. It was me versus Senga. And I come out of the game in the 7th. We're up 3-4 to, I think I gave up 2. Maybe we're up like 4-2. Or bullpen comes in. We never have a lead in the rest of the series, and they swept us 4 games. But
dude, Cody Senga, he was nasty. I mean, now with the
nasty.
Nets, was he kind of like
nasty?
Like, was he like one of the dudes over there?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Who were some of the other guys that you remember? I have a list of them. I would say who you remember. Like, Yamamoto still there?
Yamamoto's throwing like 8-9 innings every time.
Who is he with?
Oryx,
the
Yeah.
Buffaloes.
he was one of the best, obviously the best pitcher there.
Yeah, he's one
It
of the
wasn't
best
even
here.
close. It wasn't even close.
Like, you're not surprised now seeing what he's doing in the big leagues. Like, you saw it over there. Like, for
It was
someone
the- it
that
was the
pitched in the
same.
big leagues,
Really?
watching him over there, you're like, this guy's a big leaguer.
Yes, but you don't really know how it translates, right? The Japanese style of baseball is a different style of baseball. But now that I'm looking back on it and he's doing what he's doing here, it's pretty obvious that, no one was touching his stuff there. And it was, whenever he pitched against us, I swear it was 8 complete game.
When you say a big difference for, our viewers listening at home that aren't maybe as familiar with
Mhm.
Japanese baseball, would you find the biggest difference in the game between the big leagues in Japan and the big leagues in the States?
Like I said, just the style of hitting. You have some guys in the lineup that have some thump, 2, 3, 4, maybe have some good power, especially on those bigger teams. But the other, like, you have to handle 6 through 9 or 6 through 1 really well. So when those guys come up, they don't do damage.
Yeah.
And the other guys at the bottom of the lineup are going to work your count. They're not going to strike out. They're going to foul off balls that you would never even think somebody could foul off. I'd throw front door sinkers and they're fouling it in like the third base dugout, like off their belt.
Like cricket swings.
Yeah. So I always tell guys when you go over there, don't try to punch guys out. Just be nasty in the zone because you won't punch them out. You'll just waste your bullets, you know, and you'll go 8 pitches in a bat, and next thing you know, it's the 4th inning. So I always tell guys, be good in the zone. Be nasty in the zone. Just let them hit it.
Yeah.
But another like difference is if you hang a changeup like to that bottom of the order, it's a hit every time. They're not going to like get big and fly out. Like they're going to rope it into right field, or they're going to stay inside of it and go to left, right? So I had to adapt, and I had to develop a cutter because I had to keep them off my sinker.
Mm.
So I had to have something going both ways just so they couldn't lean out, and just because if they know a sinker's coming, they just 6-hole easy hit.
Flip it out in the left
Yeah.
field.
When you talked about you getting that opportunity when you felt like it was never going to come again and you felt this sense of freedom, did you kind of sense like, this is my last opportunity? And was there also something that happened to you, maybe a coach or something that, changed something in you? Or is it just kind of this idea of, I may never get to do it again, I'm just going to enjoy it? You finally stop maybe worrying about what's going to happen in the future. You were just kind of in the moment. Because I had that same sort of kind of realization, and I could look back on it, and it wasn't that many years ago. I got released from the White Sox. I thought I was done. I mean, the White Sox were the worst team in baseball. I got released in April, right? Like, if I can't play for the worst team, like, what the hell am I going to do? And I still had things I wanted to accomplish in my career. I was like 50 days shy of reaching 10 years. And, when I finally got the phone call to go to Anaheim, like, my whole mindset changed. It wasn't like, hey, I'm chasing 50 days. I'm chasing X amount of hits to accomplish these things. I'm like, I'm a cat. I'm on my 9th life. Like, let's just enjoy it.
Right.
And I ended up having the best 4-month stretch of my career because, kind of like what he said, I finally got this appreciation back for all the things that you kind of lose when you get accustomed to being in the big leagues. Like, I walked into Anaheim that day and I was like, damn, one more time to play in a big league stadium.
Yeah.
Man, I get to hit big
Your
league
gratitude,
VP. I get to share a clubhouse with Mike Trout. And I was just like, I'm going to enjoy this. And when I finally got back to enjoying the game, like, man, I took off.
Yeah. I think
it is, man. Like, and a lot of people, you come to that realization way too late. For me, like, I came to that realization, man, my time was past. Like, COVID happened, I was worrying about things that I shouldn't have been worrying about instead of like just putting in the work, like being grateful. And it got to the point for me personally where it's like the game, honestly, like the game had kind of passed me by. And my opportunities were just extremely limited at the point where I was like, man, what I would give for just like, an opportunity to go back to just like experience that crappy clubhouse in X field that I didn't look forward to doing, or the red eye flight from the West Coast to the East Coast. Like, dude, I'd give anything for it again. But, it's, that's the thing about hindsight is like, man,
it's 2020, man.
It is, man. And it's like, during in that moment, it's like, man, like once you lose sight of like, kind of like where you are And like, we've talked about this numerous times, but like when you got called up, you joined one of the smallest fraternities ever. Like you can take every guy that's ever donned a big league uniform and they don't fill up a stadium.
Yeah.
Like they don't fill up the lower bowl of Rogers Center, right? Like, I mean, it's like,
I think it's at like 23,000.
I mean, you think about that, like that is, and that's,
the history
I
of the
mean,
game.
Abner Doubleday,
Right.
you know, that was like 1902, right? Like, and so, and once you kind of lose sight of that, man, the game gets a lot harder than it already is.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, and I just played with a different perspective, I guess. And then things just got rolling, you know? And then I got into like such a good groove of like workouts and routine and everything. It just flowed, man. It was like, it felt like it was meant to be, you know, in a sense.
So you have that unbelievable year in 2019. 2020 kind of rolls around, impacted by COVID a lot. I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, man, COVID just really messed it up. A lot of that. Yeah, that was a real bummer.
And then, I mean, the following year was still the effects of COVID.
Yeah,
too.
I didn't get there till I didn't get there till opening day, which was
you guys were
April?
like, I know Japan, because like that was at the point of my career where like I was exploring opportunities. Like I was trying to like, hey man, like I would love the opportunity to pitch in Japan. I'd gotten let go by the Rangers in 2020. I'd signed with the Cubs, finished the year out with the Cubs, and then but like man, the country was on like lockdown, and they were like, hey, you can come over. Like we don't have any data because there wasn't, like I was in the alternate site the year before, so there's really no data to share. And then, you know, we haven't seen you pitch for a year and a half at the big league level, or a year at the big league level. And so you'd have to come over and try out. And if you're going to do that, you have to come over. You can't leave your hotel room for 10 days. We'll give you some weighted balls that you can, like, you know, we had some guys like set their mattress up against the wall and throw weighted balls against their mattress. And I was like, what?
Yeah, it was a bummer, man.
Like that doesn't seem like I'm going to do well.
Yeah. And even in my third year, I was starting to like feel it and get rolling. Cause you know, sometimes it takes a little while to get in the groove, and, you know, body is feeling how it should, you know, it usually takes like 4 or 5 games to really get going. And then, oh man, we was talking to a buddy of mine, Genda, the shortstop for the Japan team.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next day I'm supposed to pitch, and it turns out he had COVID. And I was like, just talking with him, you know, just at dinner.
Yeah.
And then I had to sit out for 2 weeks, you know, and then it was the Olympic break, and I just couldn't, ever since like the first year, I couldn't just seemed like it was always something.
Yeah.
Right?
It wasn't baseball there for a while, man.
Yeah. And so that was a bit of a bummer. And then kind of left like on a note that I didn't love, right? Like I went from being like the top, and then now I was ready to pitch at the end of 2021, and I didn't even get to play.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of a bummer the way it ended, and but that's okay. You know, that's how it goes.
Yeah. I had a good buddy who went over that year, and he ended up leaving a ton of money on the table and leaving probably a couple months into the season because his family couldn't get over there.
Yeah,
there was no like way of them. There was no like future plans to get him over there. He wasn't allowed to leave his hotel room. You know, you're one of 3 kind of Americans on a team. You know, it was just a lot on him, and he ended up, you know, leaving that year. And he like just kind of told me how difficult that year was. Was your wife not able to come over during that year?
We got her over there, but I didn't see my daughter for like 4 months.
Yeah.
You know, so it was just a lot. It was a lot. And then, yeah, so that was the end of that. And then the next year I was just trying to find a job over here and sign with the Rockies and grinded through AAA that whole year. And then, ended 23 was with Oakland again, but I didn't get invited to spring training. I didn't do anything. And then I was kind of pestering them in 23 to I was like, hey, you need arms.
Yeah.
I know you need arms. It's the end of spring training. Like, I know you guys got some dudes hurt, right? I'm ready to rock. And just kind of facilitated that by being annoying and like the squeaky wheel. And then, signed with Oakland in April. I think it was like April 4th or something like that. Go to Mesa for 2 weeks, and then Vegas for a couple weeks. And then that was like the craziest part was I was back in the big leagues.
That's freaking sick. Back with Oakland. Like, I mean, like in an organization that like, obviously you have super strong feelings for. I think they would probably say the same thing. Like, hey man, we like this guy. We like what he's about. We've watched his journey. So, and that was your last taste of it, right? It was 23 in the big leagues.
Yeah. That was my last year. Yeah.
And so, I mean,
what led to the decision
that's pretty
the
cool.
following year where you decide
Well,
retiring?
kind of, I didn't get an invite to spring training by anyone. I had to like basically beg to come play for Oakland, and they thankfully, needed me. And so yeah, pitching the big leagues a little bit with them, was up and down in AAA and through great in AAA. But again, I was 30, almost 35. I was just enjoying it. It was so fun.
Yeah.
Like being back in the States. I was in Japan. I even still missed the States a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? Just like being around a team that, everyone speaks the language, and, there's a different vibe there. And then I got called up the last like 2 weeks of the year in 2023. I didn't expect that. And then they needed another guy, and they called me up, and my last pitch was a major league strikeout in Anaheim. And at that point it felt kind of like
that might be it.
That's a good way to end this thing. You know what I mean? It felt right to go out there on top. It's like,
who was your last punch out?
Joe Adele.
That's a pretty good name.
Yeah, it was good.
He's a
high
player.
hitter.
He's a pretty good player.
Yeah, it was. And then that just felt. And then after that, I walking off the mound, it's kind of going a little slower, and in the dugout, I just had a feeling that was enough.
Might be it.
14 years, 1,700 innings. It's like, okay,
man. So I mean, that's awesome though, because a lot of people, they don't get. And I'm not saying like that's like, actual closure, right? There's only a handful of guys in the game that are like, you know what? I think, like, I'm going to choose to be done because I'm choosing to be done, right? Like, I'm sure there's plenty of guys, not plenty, but there's a handful of guys that when they announced that this was going to be their last season, if they wanted to keep playing, they could have kept playing.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, that's
they would have had offers,
have,
right? Like,
right.
I wasn't playing because I retired because nobody called me, right? Like nobody was calling my phone anymore.
Yeah.
But to have that moment of like, this might be it.
Mm-hmm.
You had it in a big league stadium. Like, that's probably the closest thing that us mere mortals probably get to like closure of your career.
And I mean, it made it pretty easy the next offseason when no one calls.
Yeah.
Right. So that helps your decision. And I didn't have a great offer. I had an offer to go play in Taiwan. My wife was going to have a baby that summer, and I just didn't feel like the motivation. And even in that offseason, I wasn't as motivated as I usually was. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. I felt tired, dude. I was tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I kind of always look back to, and obviously making money is great, but I kind of had that same moment in 24. I had hurt my thumb in August. I was telling everyone it was going to be my last year. I was just tired, man. Like, I played a long time. I accomplished way more than I ever thought I'd accomplish in my career. I had these goals going into
like
that year.
1% of big leaguers,
I had these goals that I wanted to accomplish for myself, which was obviously getting 10 years. Going into that season, I was like 20 hits away from 1,000 career hits. I needed like 3 homers for 100. I needed like 2 stolen bases. I checked those boxes, and I was like forever grateful that I fooled 10 major league teams or 9 major league teams at the time to keep me employed that long. And I hurt my thumb at the end of early September, and I chose not to have surgery. I said, I want to walk off the field on my own 2 feet. So I got a chance to come back for the last couple series of the year. And I remember calling my parents and being like, hey, this is it for me. And I'll never forget, I was, leading off the 9th inning. David Robertson comes out of the bullpen. My parents are in the stands. My wife's there. My kids are there. Like, this is it for me, man. And
that's great.
I like lined out or something. And it wasn't like the ending I wanted, but like I felt this satisfaction of like, man, I know it's time, right? And then off season comes around and I start getting the itch a little bit. I start calling a lot of my buddies that are retired, and they're like, man, you only get one opportunity to play, right? Like, you can't leave and then come back. So they're like, if you're still feeling it, go back. And then, ultimately I made the team, and I had a little bit of success early in the year, and then I got released. And like, I look back on it and I kind of really wish I would have just called it quits, cause it was on my own terms. Right.
Right.
It's hard to kind of come to that realization that you're not wanted anymore. And, you know, for some reason, I just kind of wanted to have that storybook ending for my career. And not a lot of us get an opportunity to do that. But the fact that you got a chance deep down inside, and like you said, you know, it makes it easier the next year when no one calls, but
Yeah, right.
that you got to have that moment, whether no one else in the stadium knew it, you knew it in your heart. Like, man, I did everything in my power to put myself in this position. I overcame so much. I persevered. I played on a different, you know, continent. I played in Japan. I got a chance to come back. And the way I'm going to go out as a strikeout, like that's got to be pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, like we said earlier too, I try to just maintain like that grateful perspective too. We all had really amazing careers, and if you think about guys that like you got drafted with, man, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of guys don't get to play as long as we did. So I always try to keep that in the back of my head too. If I ever felt like not jaded, but oh, he played longer, he did this and that. Like, well, true, but think about all the other guys that,
Yeah.
you know, didn't get to play more than a year. Or so yeah, I would just try to always think about that when I was towards the end, and my wife was really good about that. Like, think about everything else that you've done. You know, yeah, because you forget, right? You forget to maybe look down the mountain once you've climbed it.
Yep.
You know, you forget all the stuff that was at the bottom, and so
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
you know, in addition to a lot of other things we feel like this podcast can kind of do, I feel like, you know, I don't know how often you've, you know, since you've been done, you get a chance to kind of go back to the beginning of your career and think about all the things that you were able to overcome and achieve in your career, and kind of look back on it. Cause I'm not, you know, typically sitting in my house kind of thinking about the entirety of it. I think about some moments from time to time when I'm watching on TV. I could still kind of like put myself in that position. But when you get a chance to kind of go from the beginning of time through your career, you have to have this kind of gratitude and this idea that, man, I accomplished some great things in my career.
Yeah, I do lessons too, so that I think that I
nice.
get constantly reminded of that. You know, dealing with kids that are 8 and 9 that are just starting to play. You know, and it kind of brings me back, and then they'll ask me. You know, I think it's cool for them to work with someone that did get to do that or something.
Yeah,
you know, like
and also too, it kind of gives them some context of like, you know, I think one thing too that I think all of us got to experience was, you know, before you kind of get to that highest level, like you hold that highest level in such esteem, and you're like, dude, like these guys are just different. Like they're made in the lab. Like they're just, you know, they don't, you know, eat the same foods we do, you know, like, and then you get there and you're like,
yeah, right.
well, that guy's got the same problems I got. Well, that guy's got, you know, he's got the same problem, you know, like, and you just realize like, man, like I belong here. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, and we all came from the same place. We all came from, you know, maybe not the same place, but we all had to climb a mountain to get here. We all had to go through the same stuff. We all had to go through the minor leagues. We all had to go through amateur baseball. Like, and you kind of lose sight of that. And so when you see, you know, these next generations like coming up, you know, and they're looking at the mountain, right? And they're trying to figure out their place in it. And you're like, bro, like, you're gonna be fine. Yeah,
Yeah,
like, you all got to do it, man.
I try to keep that in perspective for all of like the parents and kids, you know, especially when they're younger, and like it's okay.
Yeah.
I always ask them, I'm like, how old is he again?
Yeah.
Oh, he's 11. Like, oh, 11.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of mountains to climb.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be all right. It's
Yeah.
11-year-old baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good. I try to maintain that, you know, just because I feel like sometimes now it's just too much, man.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of pressure on these kids for no reason. You know, I never felt that pressure. You know, but
No, I don't think I ever really felt pressure till, I mean, maybe the highest level of the minor leagues before I got called up. But even at that point, I was still just happy to be there. And
Just
like
playing,
I was
yeah.
just playing and trying to be where my feet were. And I was trying to really prove to, I didn't need to really prove it to myself. I need to prove it to, honestly, the Blue Jays organization, because they waited 32 rounds to select me, but it was also all these other teams that didn't take me. Like that was kind of my motivation. It really wasn't until I was in the big leagues for a couple years when I really started to like understand the business and like, man, I'm expendable, or like these every year there's a draft, you know, I got to keep my job. Like I never felt pressure playing. Like
yeah,
there's no way an 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old should feel pressure playing this game. They should do it because it's friggin' fun
yeah,
and they want to get better. and having people like you out there that have had to overcome so much in his career, that persevered so much and is now giving back to the younger generation, I think is like a really valuable thing. I think there's a lot of, hopefully, people that listen to this podcast, hopefully a lot of, baseball fans, but hopefully parents and kids will get a lot from your story, because it's very powerful. And
Appreciate
the one
that.
thing that they can never take away from you is that you play in the major leagues. And we love hammering the fact, I know Cody just mentioned it, but it's less than 24,000 people have ever climbed that mountain, and you're one of them. And it's we can't thank you enough for coming on, man. If you guys want to hear more stories like this, if you want to hear us continue to do this, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. And that's another episode of To the Majors.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Thank you.
Absolutely, dude.